everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Healing Art Community Podcast with Dr. Ray and Jean. Hi, I'm Dr. Ray.
Good day, Jean. We're coming to you from Fort Walton Beach.
Yes, right here on the Gulf, and it is beautiful out. And I know that in Colorado today, there's some weather, so we're don't be envious. But today we're talking about reprogramming your brain.
So one of my favorite teachers, Joe Dispenza, he talks about that when you first wake up in the morning, all your thoughts are from your past. Kevin started living today, all from your past. And then people typically do the same thing. They get out of bed the same way, and they walk to the bathroom, they have their cup of coffee, all those morning routines. And because we do that over and over again, our brain is now a program that is running us. We sit in the same spot, we do all the same things. We do that because it's easier for our brain not to have to make decisions.
Also, human beings resist change. So it's a lot easier to get into a routine because it's something that's comfortable, it's something that we know. And in order to shift that, we have to actually our brain into experiencing new things or thinking a new way. You know, this is what happens when we have depression and anxiety. We get stuck into this kind of thinking that we're not able to get out of. We're not able to think our way out of.
If you think of someone who's depressed, you don't think about them being very active, or someone who's very anxious. You feel that they're locked down, they're locked in, just sort of ruminating, staying in that same place. So if you think about, if you want to plan a vacation, you have to do something. You have to do some research. You have to buy some plane tickets, or you have to figure out how you're driving. You have to figure out where you're going to stay. You're going to have to figure out what you're going to wear. And all of those things are now using your brain as a roadmap to get into the future, to somewhere else, something different. Because the map of Delta, Colorado isn't going to work in Florida. It's useless. And if you know that map perfectly well, it's not going to work when you get somewhere else. And so this is how our brain works. And it works the same way whether you're traveling or not. You can imagine your day, right? You can think about what do I have to go through, and how do I want to feel, and how do I want to behave. And the more you do that, the more likely you are to hold those better emotions throughout the day.
And, if we think about the brain, biologically speaking, the rule of thumb is that the neurons that fire together wire together. So when you think a certain thought, when you feel a certain way, your neurons are firing. And the more that you think that way, the more that you feel that way, the stronger that connection becomes. So your brain is actually, in essence, wiring those thoughts and those feelings together. So it becomes a very fast pathway. And so that's why it becomes really difficult to get out of that frame of mind of negative thinking, or that frame of mind of depressive thoughts. And so when you are stuck in the same place, you see the same settings over and over again, do the same things over and over again, and then you couple that with negative thinking, it just becomes more and more programmed. And so that is why we need a shift, a huge shift, to get ourselves out of that frame of thinking.
This is happening to us all the time with advertisement. So if I say right now, ice cream, you're more likely to go out and get some ice cream because I have suggested that ice cream is now in your brain, it's in your mind. And
although it's cold in Colorado, I don't know anything about ice cream right now.
But it's an idea that is now a future focus into something else. And advertisement does this all the time. So why not use your brain the way it's designed and do it yourself? So if ice cream is not your thing, what is? And what are you going to create in your life today? And when you're creating and when you are making decisions and you are figuring things out, you're not going to be depressed. You're not going to be anxious. You're going to be busy. You're going to be active.
We know this concept when you think about working out and going to the gym. If you haven't worked out in a long time and you've been sitting on the couch, you do not have the motivation to get up and get to the gym. I know.
Motivation to sit still.
Right, absolutely.
Even when you think about it.
And so a lot of times we have to think our way. We have to force ourselves to shift, to do something different. Sometimes if we just get ourselves up and say to ourselves, we're just going to work out for 5 minutes, go to the gym, work out for 5 minutes, and then be done. That 5 minutes is going to translate into 10 minutes later. It's going to translate into 20 minutes. It's just something that feeds on itself because you've shifted your focus, you've shifted your perspective.
Yeah, I once was working with someone and I told them, just put your clothes on, your gym clothes on, and drive to the gym. Just drive there. Because now you're thinking differently. Well, I'm already here. What machine do I want to do and how long do I want to do that? Now you're thinking of, in this moment, things that you're going to do that are actually different, as opposed to sitting on the couch thinking, yeah, I should. Right? So, they did this study on people who were very happy people. And they found out that they had one thing in common. What's that one thing?
They take risks. Yeah, so if you go to, your favorite restaurant, right? You get your favorite meal, and you do that every week, and you love it, right? It's absolutely your favorite restaurant, favorite meal. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be happy. You're going to be satisfied because it satisfies you to do the same thing that you absolutely love. However, taking risks is actually what leads to happiness. If you take a risk and you go to a different restaurant, you try some cuisine, and you hate it. I call it salt here, fritters, and you try something new, and it is terrible. You took a risk, but you're still going to have a sense of happiness because you experienced something new, right? And if you experience that with a partner, you have something to share together, and it bonds you together. And that's what really leads to happiness, is going out of your comfort zone, trying something new, having a shift in your perspective, and just trying that and taking that risk.
And I want you to really challenge yourself to think about how you would like to feel and how you would like to feel. And to spend maybe just 10 minutes every morning, think about what's your plan for the day, what's ahead of you, and add in one thing that you've never done before. Just add in something, drive a different way, sit in a different chair, eat some different food, just anything. And let us know what that feels like. Because it's that certainty we have of not taking risks that we know what we can expect. But that doesn't lead to happiness.
Yeah, try a different restaurant. And, in Tulsa County, it's there are some new restaurants that are popping up. So definitely try it out. I don't know if any of you tried 476 or eat something or eat something new, right? Even if you go there, our neighbors go there a lot. Try something new, it just explodes. Because it's that exploration that leads to new things, new perspectives, and changes your brain, reprograms your brain, which is what this whole topic is about. Just as a reminder for any of you who might be joining us for the first time, this is our weekly live podcast. It is on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. It is also going to be hosted on YouTube channel, so you can catch up with past episodes there. But, this is to really start a discussion and conversation about mental health in Delta County and all the things that we as neighbors struggle with in the area that we're at. Today, obviously, we are in Florida right now, at the beach, and people are enjoying the beach too. Oh, yeah. And I know that Letty's on vacation right now too. She's a manager, so she is shifting her perspective. Right, but for all of our clients out there that know that we're out here today, we are celebrating our anniversary. It's our 28th wedding anniversary. It was on Valentine's Day, and so we're spending the week here celebrating.
We're actually here for our first anniversary.
Yeah. And, even though this is a place we've been to before, it's totally different. There's so much construction to build up and new places and new things to experience here. So we are, in fact, still shifting our perspective.
And one of the things that we like to do when we go somewhere new is we like to get to sunrise, which we did this morning, and we had a really cool
Egrets.
red, maybe.
Yeah. I have to see if I can do that. Yeah.
So that when you're in a different place, you tend to look at the world very differently. This concept of if you look at your hometown like you're on vacation, you probably do different things than because you're there. There's a lot of people that have come to visit us in Colorado, and we'll do things with them that we don't do because they're new and we want to go check out some different stuff. And doing that really keeps our brain in a really good place. Being future focused, it also builds confidence, and it helps us feel like we're in control of something and we're in charge. And it takes some effort. And sometimes it doesn't go so well.
No, we flew down here. Our first flight in Montrose was delayed 3 hours. And then once we got to Atlanta for the connecting flight, that was delayed. And the pilots almost timed out. So we almost didn't make it here, but had to stay in Atlanta overnight. I'll tell you, it was frustrating. It was very frustrating.
And it's not a unique story. There's a lot of times when you travel, it doesn't go as smoothly as you'd like it to. But it's definitely worth it when you finally get there and you actually put in some of that negative emotion, some of the tougher stuff that you have to tolerate and get through. That makes us stronger, and then it makes the journey sweeter.
Well, it's, what I was talking about earlier is that shifting that perspective and taking that risk. Sometimes taking that risk and making the effort, it's not going to turn out very well. You're going to have a hard time, you're going to have a frustrating time, but it is at least something that you can bond over. It is shifting your perspective. Whether it's good or bad, that's what leads to happiness. That's what leads to reprogramming, the thinking in our brain.
There's a concept that we talked about this before, that every spiritual begins with fall. And if you think about your life and some of those greatest disappointments shifted you, and you had to figure something else out. And it sucks too.
Yeah.
It absolutely does. However, when you get to the other side of it, it makes sense. When you're in the middle of it, it does not.
No, it does not. No. And also as a reminder for everyone, if you are wanting to explore this more deeper individually, or as a couple or as a family, KBH Center is open for counseling services for couples, individuals, families.
We really created a unique way to work with people that was important to us, and not sort of the canned stuff that, if you've ever had counseling before, it might be that way. Our focus is really about this forward momentum and getting somewhere. I heard someone explain it once as like it felt like they were walking on a treadmill before, and now they're actually running in a race.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we want to help you reprogram your brain and get out of the rut, get out of that feeling that like quicksand. It just kind of pulls you down and keeps you stuck. But life doesn't have to be that way.
When we think about it, when you were a child, you were always thinking about the future. You were daydreaming because you didn't have a past. You were living your past. But as we get older, we think more about the past than we do about the future. And that's where we get really stuck. And our brain still works. Challenge yourself to see how much crazy imagination you can actually come up with.
Oh, thank you for showing up. Thank you for following the podcast. So, this is live. So, we could see when you guys are tuning in, and we can also see your comments. So, thank you so much for participating. And we wanted this to be live so that you can add any topics that you would want us to cover, things that we would want to talk about. So this is really about starting a conversation. So I want to thank you all for joining us on Healing Our Community podcast today. We still don't have a tagline, do we? We have to figure out a tagline. Maybe you guys can give us some suggestions on a tagline. Stay healthy out there, Delta County. I don't know. That sounds like a Ron Burgundy.
I would like to say we're gonna go for a swim now, but it's freezing. And we did that yesterday. There was a couple dolphins out there. But it's still lovely in the sun.
So full transparency. You don't have to feel so bad for us. Yes, it is freezing cold out there, and yes, it's a little bit warmer than it is there today in Colorado. But I want to thank you so much for joining us on our podcast. It is a passion of ours, Gene and I, to help people and to help people connect with themselves. Stay healthy out there, Delta County.